What it was like to grow up in the last ice age. In the Ice Age, kids learned survival skills from infancy. Many Ice Age peoples were nomadic. They followed herds of animals like mammoths and bison. They would have been used to traveling long distances. They could help carry tools, hides, or food. Children had to adapt quickly to new environments. They would learn to navigate using landmarks. They would also recognize seasonal patterns. Children had to understand how to stay warm. They learned to make clothing from animal hides. They could construct temporary shelters from animal skins. Ice Age families lived in small, close-knit groups. They were often made up of extended family members. Children were raised by the entire community. The survival of these groups relied on cooperation. Children would have been deeply connected to their elders. They learned from the older members of the group. Knowledge passed down through stories and songs. Kids would also learn by watching and mimicking adults. Their play would have been practical. It helped children to develop useful skills for the future. Children might have pretended to hunt small animals. They practiced using small versions of tools like spears. Play enhanced dexterity, coordination, and tool-making. Children had to contribute to their group from an early age. Young children could gather berries, nuts, and roots. They would be given small tasks like collecting firewood. Older children could join hunting expeditions. They would be taught about tracking and hunting. They would learn to recognize animal tracks. They could also understand animal migration patterns. Children started making and using tools early on. They practiced shaping stones, bones, and wood. They made tools like scrapers, knives, and spearheads. Children had to be highly aware of their surroundings. Predators like wolves and bears were ever-present dangers. Children had to learn quickly how to avoid these threats. They would also be taught how to respond to them. Children would learn to find safe places to camp. They would recognize potential threats like avalanches. They would know which plants were safe to eat. They learned how the seasons affected their food supply. Kids would be taught to observe changes in the landscape. They would understand the signs of the weather. Ice Age peoples followed spiritual and ritualistic practices. They had a connection with the animals they hunted. Children would have been introduced to these beliefs. Early, they may have participated in communal events. Children would learn to make cave paintings. They would observe older artists and recreate their work. Kids could also take part in ritualistic burials. This would have provided them with a sense of identity. They would better connect to their group and environment. Meat was a significant part of children's diet. It would have helped in their physical development. However, food scarcity was a constant threat. So, malnutrition was common. Few children would have survived to adulthood. Many died of injuries and infections. Those who survived were the most well-adapted.